Tell me about yourself. Well, the basic response to this is, I am American and I am very friendly. However, the advanced English response is a lot longer. So how did I do this? I used this formula, F plus P plus E. And today I will teach you how to, just like I did. Welcome to Speak English with Tiffani. I am Teacher Tiffani. Let's jump right in. All right, the basic English response. This response focuses on giving the most general piece of information in response to a question or when speaking about a topic. Now, the formula we use for the basic English response is just F. That's right, just F. And it stands for fact. What you do is you give the fact that answers the question or expresses what you think about the topic. Now, there are two purposes for this. The first purpose is that by stating the fact, you show that you understood the question. And the second purpose is by stating the fact, you show that you have knowledge or an opinion about the topic or question. So let's look at this in real life. Let's say, for example, someone says to you, tell me about yourself. Well, you can say, I am American and I am very friendly. Remember, this is the fact. I am American and I am very friendly. All right, maybe they ask you, how was your weekend? Well, I could say, it was good. Why? Because this is a fact. Or let's say they ask you, how was the movie yesterday? Well, you could say, it was funny. That is a fact. It was funny. And let's say, for example, they say, do you prefer juice or soda? You may say, I prefer juice, giving the fact, the general information. Or let's say they say to you, what's your future plan? You may say, my future plan is to travel abroad. Again, you've given the fact, the general piece of information, which is what makes these answers or these responses basic English responses. However, the advanced English response is different. You see, this response focuses on giving the general piece of information plus the extra information needed to support your response. Now, here's what the formula looks like. F plus P plus E. Now remember, before, for the basic English response, we did have the F right here, okay? So we already know the F, which stands for fact. However, if we move on to the P, which stands for proof, this is what we see. You see, you give the proof that the fact you gave is true or a good response. Now, let's look at the two purposes. The first one says, by stating the proof, you show that you can support your statement. And number two, by stating the proof, you show that you understand the 5 W's. Now, very quickly, remember, if you need to refresh your memory on the 5 W's, you can click the link in the top right of the screen. But remember, the 5 W's are just who, what, when, where, and why. And by giving the proof, you show that you understand the 5 W's, all right? And finally, the E. The E stands for example. You see, you give the example that is connected to the proof that you gave. So the two purposes are, by stating the example, you show that you can connect your thoughts to real situations. And purpose number two, by stating the example, you show that you can think logically in English, which is important to advanced English responses. Okay, now let's go and look back at the examples again that we looked at for the basic English response. Now, it says, tell me about yourself. Well, remember, we know that the first part is the F, the fact. So, what's the fact? I am American and I am very friendly, okay? All right, that's a fact that we had in our basic English response. But now the next thing we need to do is look at the proofs, okay? Now for this one, we have two. We have one that says I am American, which is the fact. And we also had I am very friendly. So we're going to look those separately. All right. So again, for the proof. So we have two that we're going to try to prove. All right. So let's go on. I was born in Arizona, right here, which is on the West Coast. But I moved to Maryland, which is on the East Coast. And I still live there now. All right. These things are all connected to this fact right here. I'm giving proof. Now let's keep going because we still have to look at the very friendly right here. All right. Growing up, I had lots of friends. Because I enjoyed spending time with people. I still enjoy hanging out with my friends and meeting new people. All right. I'm giving proofs that support the fact that I'm very friendly. Now we have to move on now to the what? You got it. To the example. All right, so here we go. Actually, my friends and I went on a road trip last year and we stayed with a family that we didn't know, and I'm still in contact with them to this day. All right, so what happened? Yes, we have the example taken care of, but I want to explain something to you really quickly. Right here, you see this term road trip. Now, I want to tell you what that means. In English, a road trip is literally used to mean a journey taken by car or bus. Okay, so make a journey by car or bus. In English, we say road trip. Again, road trip. So what happened? We've taken care of the entire formula. The F for fact, the P for proof, and we had two proofs, and again, the E for example. So we have an advanced response. Now, let's look at it again in comparison to the basic response. All right. So again, when we had the basic, it was just the fact. And what happened? We said, I am American and I am very friendly. Well, this is still a part of our advanced response. It's right here, and it answers the fact. But now we have extra. Again, the proof. We have it all right here. Okay, this is the proof we have right in this section right here. And we have the example in this section right here. So now you can see the differences and also the similarities, okay, from the basic to the advanced. All right, now next it was, how was your weekend? All right. So let's get started again. We're going to start with the fact. So we're going to use blue for F this time. Just change it up. All right, the fact. It was good. Well, that is the fact. It was good. All right, now let's keep going to give proofs that show it was good. It says, I spent Saturday resting at home. Resting is good because I didn't want to work. Then on Sunday, my family and I spent the day at an amusement park together. Okay, now I do want to explain what the amusement park is, okay? In English, we say amusement park. Now, an amusement park, let's write it right up here, okay? An amusement park is just a large outdoor area that has lots of rides and amusements, okay? So a large outdoor park. But the key is there are rides that people can go on. There's also shows, and sometimes there's food. So different things like that. And we say it's an amusement park. Okay, so again, amusement park. Now, this is the proof that we needed that said it was a good weekend. Now, let's keep going. The next thing is we need to give an example. Okay. We said, but the best part of my weekend was when my favorite uncle surprised us and came to visit us on Sunday night. All right, so the best part of my weekend, and then I say, when my favorite uncle surprised us and came to visit us on Sunday. But I keep going and I say, we spent hours talking, laughing, and eating delicious food. So what happened? Yes, I told you it was good. I gave you a fact. Then I gave you proofs, what I did on Sunday and even on Saturday. but then I gave you an exact example of why it was good. All right. So again, if we compare this advanced response to the basic response, again, the basic response was it was good. That was a fact. But then what happened is for our advanced response, we brought that down into our advanced response and made it the foundation of our response. And then we continued by giving proofs for why our weekend was good right here. And then we ended by giving the example right here, an exact example from our weekend. Okay. This is our advanced response. Now, the next one was, how was the movie yesterday? All right. And for this one, this is how we answered it. Okay. It was funny. Now, again, this is the fact. It was funny. But now we need to prove. We need to give proofs that show why it was funny. All right. Here we go. The movie theater was packed when we went. So my friends and I had to sit in the back. Now, this is what we're doing. We're giving the background information, but I want to explain this term packed right here. Packed. So in English, this term packed just means to be very full of people, okay? To be very full of people. It means there were a lot of people there watching the movie, okay? We say packed. All right, now let's keep going. Then we said, I could see people smiling even before the movie started. Everyone in the theater laughed hysterically throughout the entire movie. Now we're giving proofs. Now, before I continue, I want to explain the term hysterically. Now, in English, we use this often, but the term hysterically just means with wildly uncontrolled emotion, okay? With wildly uncontrolled emotion, okay? Laughing hysterically, uncontrolled emotion, all right? So again, we've given the proof, but now we need to go to giving our example. All right, so let's continue. We say, my favorite scene was when the two main characters tried to escape their teacher, but they got caught by their mothers. It was hilarious. So I've given the example. Now, again, let's look at the comparison between our basic response and now the advanced response. So again, the basic response was, it was funny, the fact. But now this becomes the foundation for our advanced English response, the fact. And again, we gave our proofs, the movie starting right there, and then we continued all the way down here for our proofs when we talked about the other people at the theater. And we got more detailed with the example when we said what the favorite scene was from the movie. All right, that gave us the advanced response. Okay, now let's look at the next one. Do you prefer juice or soda? Now, again, we're going to start with the fact. The fact is I prefer juice. Okay, that's the fact. Now we're going to look at the proofs of that fact. So I say, growing up, my mom didn't let us drink soda, so I don't really crave it. Now let's pause really quickly. I want to explain this term crave. Now, the term crave just means to have a strong desire for, okay? To feel a powerful, to feel a powerful desire for something. For example, children usually desire or crave candy or ice cream. They crave these things, all right? Okay, so let's continue. Plus, I really love fruit. I usually eat at least 2 to 3 apples on a daily basis. So when I have to choose between juice or soda, I automatically choose fruit juice. All right, so we've answered the proof. Now we're going to give an example, okay? Here we go. Yesterday, my mom and I went to the store to pick up a new organic orange juice that we heard about on TV. It was pretty delicious. So I've given the example. So again, if I'm comparing my basic response to the advanced response I just gave, we can notice again, I prefer juice was the fact, and it becomes the foundation for my advanced response. Then when I'm giving my proofs, let's put the check mark here first. When I'm giving my proofs, it's this portion right here. And the next thing again we do, we need to give the example, which starts right here and becomes this section right here. Remember, you can choose how many sentences you do for each part of the equation. It's up to you, all right? All right, now the next one was, what's your future plan? All right, so we're going to start again with the fact, all right? The fact is, my future plan is to travel abroad. Now, what we need to do is give the proofs. So let's continue. I have always wanted to do a trip around the world. I think that experiencing other cultures is one of the most important things anyone can do in their lifetime. So I really want to travel more. All right, so I've given the proof that yes, I want to travel abroad. But now I need to move into the example. So now I'm saying, next year I am planning to do a trip around Europe with my best friend. We are planning to visit all of the European countries over a 2-month period. It will be the first of many trips. So I'm giving a specific example because I want to go to Europe. So again, let's look at this in comparison to the basic English response. So my basic response was, my future plan is to travel abroad. That's a fact. And it becomes the foundation of my advanced English response. And now, after we check that, we move on to the proof, which is this section right here. Okay, remember, again, I stated before, it's up to you how many sentences you want to use for each. And for my example, I talked about next year, my plan with my best friend to go to European countries. All right. So that's the comparison between the basic and the advanced English response. Now, if you want to get my free printable lessons in your email inbox every week, go to www.speakenglishwithtiffani.com/weekly. On that page, you can enter your email and your name, and starting Sunday, I will send you free weekly English lessons. And remember, on the left side of your screen to watch my next English video lesson that is just for you. As always, remember to speak English.